Hello, everyone. We are here and live now. Um, yeah, we're just gonna get our. Oh, we've already got it done. So, welcome everyone to the VirgoDAO Investment Talks, episode number 19. We're here speaking with ARK today, with TJ from ARK AI. Just briefly before, as we do at the beginning of all these shows, I just wanted to give a brief rundown of what these investment talks are all about generally. Again, these are talks that we're using to highlight some projects that are coming along in the crypto space that are doing something that is new, exciting, revolutionary, even maybe. The idea behind it is to garner support from our Poway viewer or Poway holders to make a proposal for investments for our Virgo DAO treasury from our Virgo DAO treasury. Sorry, excuse me. However, as with the last episode, we have also already, our Virgo DAO treasury has already opted to invest in the ARC protocol. So that's exciting. But we really wanted to have these guys to come on to talk about their thing because some of the stuff that they're doing is really, it's pretty cool. It's really awesome. I want to talk to TJ about some of the stuff. And are you there, TJ? Can you hear me?
Yeah, how you doing,
I'm
Jay?
good, man. I'm good. So, also wanted to let people know just before we get into this, just to stick around to the end because we have a little bit of a really cool announcement that we're going to be dropping in here, and it involves, well, partially involves ARC as well. So, yeah, why don't we just go ahead and get started because we're going to be trying to keep this to around half an hour as well. So, TJ, why don't you introduce the
Sure.
ARC project and just kind of tell us what it's all about, man?
Yeah, ARC, we're about building foundational AI models that anyone can access, that anyone can use to build their dreams. We're also about securing Web3 in general. So we actually started the other way around. Our initial goal was to secure Web3 and secure people's wallets because there's so many rug pulls being launched. Even to this day, over 90% of the projects launched end up being rug pulls. So we started with that in mind, and as we built and built the secure protocol, we eventually created a better way to build an AI model. So we pivoted to that, and we're doing both today.
That's pretty cool, man. Yeah, yeah. We find in this space. I mean, especially with it's the plus and minus, right? Like you get the less regulation in terms of like being able to launch and do things that you want, but there are unfortunately a large number of people who are willing to take advantage of those who are just trying to like either get into the space or are just trying to like make a quick buck, right? Where they're like, oh, we'll get into this and it'll 10x, and then I'll take it $1 million, and then everyone just ends up losing money, and the people who start these scam projects just walk away rich and never to be heard from again, really. So it's really awesome that you guys are working on the
Exactly.
security
Yeah.
thing. That's really key. Yeah, so did you want to like just delve in a little bit to more on how you guys are doing the security? Like how does the protocol work?
Yeah. Yeah, so initially we hooked up some APIs. There's different APIs available through different providers. Like one of them was just notifying people on chain or sending notifications directly to their phone. Some of the other APIs we used identified honeypots. Um, but then as we were like, let's build a more concentrated solution, we started to integrate AI as well. So we would actually take the smart contracts, filter them through like an open AI API. We would read through what issues were in the code, and then we would push that to our users. And eventually, we built our own model around that. We
I think you might
acquired
be
our own
cutting out there,
AI
my friend.
engine, and we made the process. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Hello.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I was.
That's okay.
Where did I cut out at?
You you were speaking about filtering the APIs through the language model, OpenAI model.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and then from there we decided to build our own model. by using the reactor engine, which we've been working on for years, and also acquiring an AI engine, and that's what we did. And to this day, we've safeguarded over 50 million in assets. And just the way we do it is whenever people are about to swap, they can use our protocol, and if they select a token that's not safe, we'll notify them. And we saved a lot of.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I mean, it's kind of like in my mind, I was kind of reading up a bit on it, and it's really like instant like mini audit for any contract that you want to maybe potentially like check out, right? You can just have it run through the protocol, and it'll like kind of spit back to
Yeah,
you something that's going to be, oh yeah, there's a problem with this part of the code, or there's a problem here, and you can kind of make your own decision based on that, which is good because it's not gonna, yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and the methodology behind it is different too. So you have CERTIC and BioSed and all these bigger audit players. And traditionally, the way the audit works is it's sort of static and it's like a brand stamp. It's, hey, we're not going to rug you. Here's the brand stamp. We got checked out by these guys. And then a lot of those projects get rugged anyways. So our idea is we do dynamically. So every few minutes in our database, we're rechecking these tokens. And if anything new pops up or if there's a suspicious movement, we will notify the users, which you don't have with other platforms. So yeah, that's part of our
Right,
approach.
right, yeah, because like if say there's a slight problem where like the contract isn't renounced, say, and then they go through the audit and everything looks fine, and then they're able to make changes to the contract after the fact, then you run into that problem, right? Whereas running through you guys, it's
Yeah,
gonna pick that up. That's
exactly.
really cool, man. Yeah, that's awesome. Like really good safeguarding everything like that. So if since you were talking about the AI and like AI seems to be like the new hotness thing, but we're going like it's here to stay, and it's really awesome the fact that we're kind of in the baby steps of the infancy, if you will, of like the AI revolution that's happening here, where you can foresee it moving
Absolutely.
towards a place where it's going to make everyone's life. You're going to see it integrated into a lot of things, and able to
Yeah,
make everyone's lives that much easier, right? Like you can imagine a world like even what we're talking about now, where you can say, "Hey, look." You don't need to necessarily go and pay a bunch of money to an audit company if you have a reliable like AI generated thing that can quickly check and run through your audit and can update it or run through the
yeah,
project contract and update it pretty quickly and say like, hey, this is a honeypot. Hey, they're able to have a minting function. Hey, this thing is going to happen, and it can show you basically instantly. Whereas you no longer have to rely. I mean, obviously, there's still going to be projects that are going to use that brand stamp and say like, look, hey, we're serious about this. We want to do this, but just on the interim of those people launching like meme tokens and stuff like that, they're not obviously going to go through and maybe pay for that kind of thing. And then this allows you to have that instant check, right?
yeah, yeah. And I mean, we want it to be a subscription mechanism. So it'll be the consumers that are really benefiting versus the projects.
Exactly.
Because yeah, the way it works right now is the incentives are all aligned for the project to be a little bit shady, just use it as a brand stamp. But with our system, it really benefits the consumer instead of the projects themselves. But yeah, just kind of going back to AI in general, and I mean what it's going to do to our world. It's really incredible the era of history that we're in because you look at humanity, you look at like the agrarian revolution. We went from hunter gatherers to now we have farms. Now we're going to build towns, eventually have city states, develop political systems. And then you go forwards into the future, into the industrial revolution, right, which lifted millions and millions out of poverty and allowed for a population boom. But now we're about to have the AI revolution, or we're actually in it. And it's different because with the industrial revolution, only a few people own the factories, right? It was still easy to hoard wealth, but with AI, it's going to improve everyone's productivity. So a lot of people are doomers about AI. They think it's going to make people obsolete, but I think it will allow us to enter a new era of
I mean,
prosperity.
yeah, I completely agree with you. Like, there are a lot of people were, you would think if you look back in the history, you'll see a lot of people were doomers about like what the internet was going to do. People were doomers about like the advent of cars, right? Like
Yeah.
it replacing horses. People were doomers about a lot of stuff that it ended up being like it's not and then going to end up working the way that you wanted to. You got to give humanity some credit in the fact that like yeah, well, as a whole, we kind of make mistakes, but at the same time, like when a new technology is like uh, becomes mainstay that we adapt to it and then we end up using it for our benefit. I was actually talking the other day about with somebody about this and
Yeah.
saying like look, every 50 years or so there's like a big advent of something and like we're approaching that now. Like you see in the 80s the internet was
Oh yeah.
around in the late 70s but like it only became big like like a big thing like in the 90s, right? Like it became like a big huge thing. And before that it was, you know, fast travel, like being able to fly planes efficiently across the world, right? And cell phones and things like that. Like those are big
Yeah.
revolutionary steps, and like this can you can see the groundwork now that it's like laying that this, you know, maybe not next year, maybe not the year after, but we're here now. And then once it gets to a point where it's able to seamlessly integrate into society, it's gonna be the next step. It's just gonna make people better. Speaking of that, though, we'll
Yeah.
try to stay a little bit more we're focused on your project. Yeah, since you were talking about the AI, like your big thing regarding that on the other side, apart from your protocol, is the reactor side of it. So did you want to kind of just go through what the reactor part of ARC is all about?
Yeah, absolutely. So we started actually building the foundation for the reactor model with the original reactor, which is based off of a paper that my CTO wrote a few years ago. And I mean, that paper is being used by the Portuguese today in their digital national ID program. It's been cited by some great people, and really what we did with our model was we looked at the model that's currently popular, which is large language models and how those are organized. And whenever we decided to kind of pivot or at least experiment with creating our own AI model, what we did is we took the reactor engine and we applied it as sort of like a filtering slash feeder mechanism into a large language model. And when we did that, the results we got were astounding, because what you have with a traditional model is the syntax and the data isn't really organized. But with with our reactor, we were able to organize the data so much better for the model to understand it in a new way. And I was kind of posting about this yesterday. Uh, Large language models, they're based off of like the little idiosyncrasies that English is based around, that the way we speak, instead of more based towards the core parts of science like logic and math. And while others are focused on building a better LLM, we're really focused on building a better model, period, that focuses on an ontology approach versus language itself. And that's why we have the results we have, right? So with Reactor Mark 1, uh, I mean, to this day, it still has some of the highest scores in the world on benchmarks. And that was just our MVP iteration. So if you look at our at arc.ai, or you just look through our posts, you'll see that it was way back in the summer. We had the highest score on MMLU in the world. That's compared to GPT, Claude, the other models. We had a very high human eval score, which is a coding benchmark, and we're getting better every day. And we think that this needs to be our core focus, because it's rising tide lifts all boats, right? And the better our AI model is, the better our security is going to be, and it also just expands the horizon by which we can generate revenue and bring the world towards a better place.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, it really goes to show what you guys are actually like accomplishing here when you're talking about like these high scores and like best in the world and stuff like that. And you don't have that like billion-plus-dollar budget that like GPT has, and like, you know, that
Yeah.
like Grok is trying to do, or even like Meta's like Llama system. It's like it's if you're focusing like all these people are pumping like so much money into building larger and larger like GPU processing power to like grow the language model.
Exactly.
Whereas you guys are like, look, the language model, yeah, you can scale that for however long you want, but if the core base of it is making the model itself better, then you're going to be far and away ahead based on like less GPU processing power and stuff like that. Speaking of which, I wanted to make sure that we talked about this continual prompting that you were talking about. I just didn't know exactly where it ties in.
Yeah.
Is it ties into the reactor part of it? Does it not?
Yeah, no, it does. One of the unique aspects of our model is
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
your other models out there, they have their rote memorization. There's sort of like a stochastic parrot, right? You train it, they're able to spit it back out at you. But since our model operates differently, with an ontology as its base, whenever you're talking to it, it can actually prompt new pathways of conversation. So if you test out Reactor, you ask about any topic, instead of just spitting at you for like a minute straight with all these different potential things you're asking, it will give you a very concise answer, but then it'll also present new pathways. So, like with blockchain, if I ask just a general question about blockchain, it'll open up a pathway about security, it'll open up a pathway about trading, it'll open up a pathway about history. And that just continues to build in complexity because of the foundation of the model itself, which is different than others.
Yeah, I mean, I was messing around with it the other day, and I was just doing it just as a base thing, trying to find like movie advice or like movies that I should have watched. So I kind of typed into it like, "Can you recommend a movie that's like visually stunning, complex, or whatever?" And then it says like, "Look, here's this." Here's this movie that you might like, and I was like, okay, this is really good, but I've already seen this. But I really liked it. Can you recommend? They're like, oh, well,
Uh-huh.
here's the director and here's what they've done, so you might like all of those if you're looking for like cinematography. If you like, the actors in it, here are the so it opens up these different
Yeah,
pathways instead of like being, oh yeah, the next movie on IMDb's top 100 in here is going to be this, so you should watch that one. And I'm now getting like, it's getting
exactly.
responses that are what I would imagine that I want AI to be doing for me, right? Like, I don't need, like, it's cool that the base part of it is being able to just say, hey, uh, write me this thing or recommend me this thing, and it'll go and scour the internet or whatever it's got in its base to say, these are the answers that we have come up with that are best based on whatever. Instead of, I like the AI part of what Reactor's doing is saying like, hey, where you really get it's like, hey, what do you like about this, and like, let's build on that and find out, like, to tailor it to you. So when
Yeah,
you guys say like AI for humans, like 100% I can see that happening, like right there. I witnessed it. It's really really cool. And on top of that,
thank you.
yeah, on top of that, the other big thing that when I was going through your documents and stuff, like the coolest part for me is a big thing that is the climate positive thing that you guys are doing, which I don't know that I've never seen it in the space or any AI model that is going on like a net positive for sustainability and things like that. So do you want to kind of just break that down for us? Because for the people who haven't read into it, like, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Well, and it's because other models, it would cost a fortune to make them climate positive, right? But with ours, I mean, since it's so different, since we didn't have to use that much data to train it, and the architecture is different, we are able to make it climate positive, which essentially means that it absorbs more carbon than it produces. So, I mean, that's a huge point for people who are conscious about the environment, right? Not, and it's also a huge point just to not be a virtue signaler. Like other companies in the space, they talk about sustainability, they talk about safe AI, they talk and they talk and they talk about it, but they're not releasing their numbers and they're not offsetting like we are.
Yeah, it's like 50
But then
percent more
the
carbon,
second,
and it's like half, right?
yeah, we absorb 50% more than we put out. So it's not just we absorb some, like we absorb more than we put out. But and then the second part to that, that's even bigger, is our ability to sell to large cap companies, that have these ESG goals, and they're already way over those goals. Well, guess what? You hook in a reactor. I mean, you need quality AI anyways if you want to be relevant. Why not hook into the AI that's also going to move you further towards those goals? And it unlocks an untapped market for us. And you can see that in our summit that's coming up in December. I mean, we have VPs from Capgemini attending. That company has over 300,000 employees. The person's actually speaking as well. We have a VP from Rabobank. They have over 600 billion in assets. We have two VPs from BlackRock, Blackstone. We have people from Wells Fargo. There's a lot of people interested in this technology, and I mean, it speaks for itself at the end of the day. It's kind of our philosophy is we just build and build and build, and the people will come, and that's what started to happen.
That's awesome, man. Like that's a pretty stacked list of VPs that are going to be up coming to the summit. When what day is that
Yeah,
happening?
December
December
12th.
12th. So mark that on your calendars, guys, because that'll be definitely interesting to listen to. Especially,
Absolutely.
just doing the research for these projects when they come on for our investment shows. I just wanted to take a look at it. You know, it's constantly like I'm surprised by whatever, because like initially going into this, we were like doing a lot of different AI projects, and I'm like, okay, these are all kind of similar. There's a little bit differences, but then you see something like there's still things that are
Yeah,
doing like people are coming up with novel ideas. There's still so much space to like explore and build in, and like it's really cool to see like people taking different tacks on making things like sustainability or just changing the model itself of AI. Like that's impressive. No
thank you,
problem. No problem.
thank you, and that's why we're so focused on. You brought up our tagline "AI for Humans" earlier, on building AI that doesn't just finish your thoughts, but it becomes a co-collaborator with you. It becomes a co-partner with you. It's not an assistant, it's a partner because it helps you think of things that you haven't even thought of yet. It's an extension. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and then the final thing that we kind of wanted to touch on is like the speed and simplicity of this, because I know that you guys are the response time and everything is really, it's quite simple and quite easy, and I just want to know if you wanted to touch on that for a little bit.
Yeah. So other models, uh, a lot of them sometimes seem like they're built for academics, or they just kind of go on and on. And I think that's because of the architecture. So they can't do the continual prompting, which means they're just going to continue potential pathways of thought in a single message. So if you look at the mess or the post that's pinned on my profile, you'll see us in direct comparison to OpenAI's best model, and we respond much faster. We have a much more concise and simple answer, which simplicity is king. If you can't explain something simply, you don't understand it. And then we also provide the secondary pathways of thought along with that.
Yeah, you guys even have. Sorry, go ahead.
So,
I didn't mean to cut you off.
oh no, go
Oh, I
ahead.
was just saying, like, yeah, when I was using it, you could see it shows the like the response time on it and like the like how many seconds it took for it to do things like that. And it's really cool to see that. And yeah, again, the simplicity is
Yeah,
absolutely key, especially with people who are, you know, not all of us are, you know, tech wizards. Like I'm certainly not, and we you know don't have time to go and like sift through a bunch of information to find out what we want. Like being able to tailor it down, simplify it, speak in layman's terms about things
yeah,
is like the majority of the people that this is going to be integrated to over time are going to be people just like regular everyday people who don't want to, you know, people didn't want to go through an encyclopedia to find
exactly.
information and it's like 3 paragraphs about
Yeah,
like the Sudan or something, when you're just like, can you just tell me the answer please? Like I just want to know, just give me like a 2 sentence answer
exactly.
about like what I'm trying to do here, and that's really key.
Yeah, like I guess it kind of shows the ideologies too behind the makers of the models. So other models, they'll kind of answer like a politician, right? They'll blather on and on and on, or they'll answer like a panel of experts or a professor and lecture at you, and we just give you the answer. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, that's really awesome, man. I just wanted to take the last kind of part of this is just kind of where are you guys going from here? Like, what's next? I know you've got like a really impressive roadmap that's going on, and it takes you into like
Yep.
next year, like the quarter two of next year, I think.
Yep.
And yeah, like it looks like you guys are just a lot of it's focusing on like expanding, strengthening the model, redoing things like that, getting impressions and things like that. Just what other than that, are you have plans for anything else big that's coming out, or are you like just focusing on growth right now, or what's going on?
Yeah. I mean, we have a lot of plans. So that summit with those enterprises, we plan to be working with a plethora of enterprises over the next 6 months. That'll be anywhere from shipping MVPs with them to just launching full-fledged products and maybe even licensing some of our models with them.
Nice.
So that will unlock revenue and unlock a higher valuation for us. Then the second part, earn with ARC. We're going to be launching that soon. So everyone who holds ARC tokens plus connects to our AI or protocol, reactor protocol, will be able to take advantage of that and actually earn a share of the revenue for their data. So I'm really excited about that. We'll be sharing up to 50% of our on-chain revenue to our users through earn or to our holders through earn with
Wow.
ARC. And then the last part is kind of the rollout of KeyGuard and Layer X. So anyone who's watched our recent AMAs, you've heard about KeyGuard, and essentially what it does is it solves a major problem in the space. So earlier I talked about Web3 security. That's a huge problem for Web3, right? Which is a pretty big market. And then I talked about improving the base level large language model, replacing that with better architecture. We've done that. That solves a pretty big problem. It's part of why enterprises are interested. But the problem we're solving now that will allow us to scale those different streams, those different verticals we already have, will be through KeyGuard, which essentially allows anyone to take any model off of Hugging Face or other platforms, encrypt that model on chain, and then enjoy a completely encrypted and private AI
Oh
model.
wow.
And that's it solves a lot of problems, right? You have healthcare companies, automotive companies. You have companies in Europe or companies with customers in Europe. You have GDPR, right? You got to comply with those regulations.
Right.
And what our system does is you don't have to trust the AI company any longer. You can just take your model, you encrypt it, and now your messages back and forth are encrypted. So that's huge for basic users who want to truly and sovereignly own their AI, which I'm a big, I preach about that a lot. How if you don't own your keys, it's not your crypto. Same thing with the AI model. But then it's big for companies as well that spend millions in training new models, millions in building data centers so their model can be private. We're going to bypass all of that. I mean, right now, if you look at our demo, you can just encrypt your model in seconds, send your first encrypted message in less than 30 seconds, and voila, you're in. And that's what we're really going to be scaling into next is Layer X, which is kind of the combination of all of those things in the easiest and most accessible platform there is. And we plan to be the Web3 layer for AI.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, you're doing a fundraising thing and everything, leasing office buildings, scaling the teams. Like that's, you guys seem like you know where you're going and what you've got. It's really nice to see a project that's actually like doing things, has like a set goal of like month by month things that they have planned to do, like goalposts that aren't like extreme but like easy enough to achieve, I would imagine. And then it seems laid out like very
Yeah.
succinctly, and like what you're actually doing. This layer X thing seems awesome. I can see 100%. Immediately just comes to mind. It's like there's a lot of places that the security, the privacy of encryption, and not having it be like open source is, you need it, right? Like especially with like healthcare records, things like that, for a hospital, for like even a country running like a whole type of business plan or healthcare solutions is, yeah, even in businesses, like you definitely want to have to be able to tailor make an AI for your business and then run it entirely through that and not have to worry about, another company having access to that information, right? Or like even the AI company itself having access to that information.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for us here. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on before we close this off?
No, I want to say I'm excited to be partnered with you guys. I love the technology that you're building, and yeah, I'll let you announce now.
Awesome. Yeah. So it turns out that we were going to do something that was going to happen today, but actually it's going to happen tomorrow. But we're planning on launching our P2P swap bot tomorrow, which is really cool. It's going to be part of the expansion of our P2P exchange following the success of our P2P alert bot. This powerful new tool is going to make creating or buying swap deals very easy with simple steps. You can create purchase swap deals. You can preview suggested market rates. You will gain real-time insights into order fills, be able to import and export multiple wallets effortlessly. You also be able to access full insights into public market swaps, view balances, order history, and active orders, and cancel and withdraw orders when needed. For mobile users, this is going to be a game changer. It's going to be the ultimate tool to quickly set up public or private swap deals directly on the Messier P2P exchange. We'll be launching that tomorrow, and I wanted to tie this in with you guys because like the way that we set up there'll be a video tutorial
Yep.
about it, and we're using ARC as the model for the tutorial, which is really cool. So you guys will be able to see it work with ARC real time. Real time in the video, I guess. So that's really cool to see how the
Okay.
speed and ease of it.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to just touch
Very
on, you
exciting.
guys are, again, December 12th is the big launch or the big summit for ARC. And then also we are going to mention that Messier is also getting ready for its first big conference. I don't have any more details on that now, but just stay tuned because more details to follow for Messier. So again, sorry, I wanted to thank you, TJ, for coming on here, and thank you to ARC for taking the time to be on our episode. So thanks a lot, man. Have yourself a great day.
Yeah, you
Awesome.
too.
And I will
Happy to do this.
Perfect. Great. And then I'll see all of you guys next week for the episode 20. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.